York's classic rock. Q1043.
Welcome back. Jonathan Clark in the studio with Luke Elliot. How are you, Luke?
Good. How are you, man?
Good. I'm going to hold up this awesome album cover. Luke Elliot, dressed for the occasion. You are dressed for the occasion in this for this photo shoot.
Yeah.
That must have been fun, right?
It was a long day.
Yeah.
It was really cold.
Oh,
and
what
it
it
was
was?
without a jacket.
And where did you shoot this? Was this New York City or?
We actually did that in Oslo. And we were out there doing a tour in Europe, and we did a photo shoot while we were over there.
Okay. I want to get to that. You're playing the Bryant Park Music Festival this Friday night right here in New York City, and another New York City gig, which will be the official record release party, Mercury Lounge, October 24th. So we look forward to that. And you're from Princeton originally?
Yeah, I grew up in Lawrence, right next to
Oh,
Princeton.
okay.
Yeah.
Now, is that like farm country, kind of? Like I picture a lot of rolling fields down there.
It's we get all the bad parts of Princeton and the good parts of Trenton. So, I mean, it's just kind of this strange.
That's like a weird juxtaposition there.
It's a strange mix of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And are you based in New York City now? Where are you based now? Or you're a vagabond, you're touring constantly, and you just carry a suitcase?
I kind of float.
Okay.
I float, but recently I've been staying in Jersey City.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And you've been writing songs for a long time now. Since what, like 12 years old or something?
Well, I've been writing a lot of words since I was about 12. I mean, actual songs, probably 16 or 17. But, I didn't start doing this full time until about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I read an interesting story about you. In sixth grade, you were assigned to do a book report, and you chose William S. Burroughs' Junkie.
Yeah. That happened.
That's not what you would think a sixth grader would do a book report on,
well, my publicist and I were talking about this the other day, and I actually I swear to God, I ran into my fourth grade teacher.
Come on.
2 days ago.
Really?
At a bar in Princeton, New Jersey. And I walked over and...
That's weird, running into your fourth grade teacher in a bar.
So she walks over and she's like... Well, I walked over and I'm like, hey. And she's like, Luke Elliot. And I was like, yeah, hey, how are you? And we were talking about it, and I told her the story because it was in the press report. And she just started laughing, and she was like, yeah, man, you were always reading things like that. Sixth grade was the earliest I remember really delving into that. But apparently, like, I was talking to her about the persecution of the Native Americans, and I was going into, like, all this. I don't know why. It's just kind of stuck in my brain.
See, normally a sixth grader would do a book report on like The Call of the Wild or something like that, or one of these classic books.
Yeah, well, it's Junkie's a classic.
Oh no,
book.
It's a classic, yeah, but not for a sixth grader normally.
No, probably not. No.
But was there a moment in time where it hit you? Like, did you hear a song? Did you watch a video? Maybe you saw an artist where you were like, okay, this is what I want to do, and this is what I want to. I want to write songs. I want to perform live. And was there like a particular moment where you're like, I got to do this. This is what I want to do.
Well, I always knew that I wanted to perform. I just didn't know how I wanted to do it. And I think I went to see Prince when I was 14 at Madison Square Garden.
It was all over, right?
Yeah. And my older brother was a musician, so he took me. And I remember him giving me a beer and a hit off a joint.
Yeah.
And he was...
Oh, my God.
I know. He was like 23, 22. And I just was like, this is what I got to do. And Shaka Khan was opening for him. And to me, it was
Now, how long ago was that?
I was 14. So
okay, so it was several
16 years ago. Yeah. Something like that.
You were lucky to see him. I mean, God.
It was unbelievable, man. It was such a great show. And, just the whole vibe of the place. Everybody was happy. And I was like, this is what I want to do.
That's what I saw Prince. Luckily, I saw Prince like 2 or 3 times. And what I noticed, and you probably noticed this too, is that like the audience is every kind of person in the world.
Yeah.
Every color, every ethnic background, every whatever political belief. And that's what was so great. And everybody was dancing for like 4 hours.
That's right. It's not a Sting concert.
No.
Everybody's just everybody, there's a billion types of people there. Everybody loved Prince.
Yeah.
So it was really cool. And then I went back to school and I was talking to all my friends about Shaka Khan. And, nobody wanted anything to do with what I was listening. But then I realized that there was a whole group of people out there that were into the same sort of things that I were. They just weren't in Lawrence Intermediate School.
Now, at that Prince show, was he running around playing like every instrument?
Yeah, he was insane. He was insane. He was the coolest guy in the world.
Oh, my God.
He came from underneath the stage. He just like appeared out of nowhere. I was just blown away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're lucky to see him.
Yeah, it was really a treasure.
And your parents are cool with you choosing this profession, right? I read that they have been like kind of supportive of you throughout the whole sort of, I want to be a singer-songwriter thing.
Yeah, I think for the most part. I mean, they
They
all
didn't want you to be a doctor or a lawyer or anything, or?
no, no, probably not. But I I mean, I think they wanted me to have a little more. I think all parents want their kids to have some kind of stability,
Right.
and I think it.
Something to fall back on.
And I literally like when I left for Europe, I just left,
Yeah.
and they didn't know what was going on. So I think it was a little startling to them
Right.
at certain points. But now they're very very happy I did it.
We're in the studio with Luke Elliott. The new album is Dressed for the Occasion. He's playing Bryant Park Music Festival here in NYC this Friday night. And then the record release party for the new album, Dressed for the Occasion, Mercury Lounge here in the city, October 24th. And you can check out all the tour dates on your website. Is it lukeelliott.com?
Yep.
Luke Elliott with one T. And it's an interesting story about how you ended up in Norway recording your new album in the studio with all this vintage equipment and
Yeah.
tape machines. It first started as like an interview with a Norwegian journalist or something, or how
Well,
did this all happen?
I was at a J Farrar show at City Winery, and I had literally just, it's all really serendipitous. Like the day that I moved there, who would become my producer, John Agnello, who produced this record.
Yeah.
He and his wife called me. They're like, "You're new to town. Why don't you come with us to this concert?" And I was like, "Okay." And I went, and then we all went backstage, and I met this.
Jay Farrar from Sunvault.
Yeah.
Originally Wilco, and
Yeah,
then
that's
yeah,
right. That's right. Yeah,
Uncle Tupelo. Thank
Yeah,
you, Billy.
yeah.
The legend speaks.
that's right.
See, I told you I'd call you a legend.
So I'm back. We go backstage, and I meet this funny-looking little Norwegian guy, and we're having a beer, and we just kind of start talking, and I tell him I'm a musician. He doesn't pay much attention to me. And then, I happen to have a record on me, and I gave it to him, and happened. I mean, I was in New York City. I wanted to, always have some kind of CD. So
A couple CDs hanging out,
So
some USB drives.
yeah, it was
and-
very, very like high school, And so
Yeah.
I gave it to him, and I was like, I'm never going to hear from this little person again. And then, he
You're describing him like an elf.
well, you got to see him. He's like I would do anything for this guy, but he does. Yeah, he's like this short little guy. And
Give him a shout out. What's his name?
Eirik Mosveen.
Okay.
Yeah, he's an amazing guy. And so he takes this, he takes the album and he listens to it and calls me, and we just become instant friends. And then he wrote him. He was the writer for one of the largest newspapers in the country, and he wrote this full page story on me. And I couldn't believe it. And we got asked to go over for a tour. We went over for literally, I think, what was it, Krista? 5 shows, and Krista, my manager, and I, we went over there, and it was just amazing. We got a booking agent the first show. We got asked to cut a record, and we ended up just touring all over the country. And then from there, we went from Norway to Germany, France.
Right. Yeah.
So it was really an amazing thing. But Eirik was the start of it. I mean, it's just unbelievable person.
And then you ended up in this studio, which is like, it sounds really cool. You did like all mostly analog, like 2-inch tape, right? Like,
Yeah, John and I, we found this studio there. Well, the studio found us at one of the shows. The owner of the studio came over and asked me if I wanted to cut an album, and I said I didn't have any money. And he just said, "Do you want to cut an album?" And I was like, "Okay." And we couldn't believe it, and so we just cut this record. But most of it was analog,
yeah.
on a Neve desk. And then
Oh, nice.
It was really something else.
It's Luke Elliott in the studio with us, and that new album he's talking about is called Dressed for the Occasion. He's playing the Mercury Lounge for a record release party October 24th. The album actually comes out this Friday.
That's right.
So you can pick it up in all the usual places. And, of course, Luke will be at Bryant Park Music Festival this coming Friday night. We have a piano for you.
Yes.
I hope it's okay.
It's fine. It's fine.
You want to play a song for us?
Yeah, let's do that.
Tell us the name of it and maybe what it's about, and then just go for it.
Yeah, so this was actually really popular over in Europe. It's called "Let It Rain on Me." It's off the new album, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's one of the better piano ballads I've written. So it's it's been a big hit for a lot of shows.
Nice.
So yeah. The place is swinging, chandelier hung high. I've been gone too long now, and I've not slept even a wink. Follow my father's footsteps and I'll sing. My mind's working too hard now, too hard to blink. But I'd hurdle the moon if I could feel your strength. I'd break out that cell of blindness to find your faith. Let it rain, let it rain, let it rain on me. I'm singing jingles, love never rhymes, and the worst things said now are in pantomime. The fog is thick, the blood looks like wine, and all that we've shared can't be covered up by darkness or grime. And standing on high now, it's a two-backed beast, standing on stilts just to watch the feast. Jezebel is hungry, there's a man in the dark. He's looking for the light switch, but he's looking too hard. Let it rain, let it rain, let it rain on me. I danced a tango all on my own. The world can surprise you when you're on your own. I've been down this road before, says a voice in my head. You gotta look way up past the ceiling when there ain't nothing left to be said. Miss Lisa says she's pulling the blinds down. I bet you 10 to 1 now on a trader's frown. Anyone can be trusted when there's love in a heart. You gotta look deep down in the shadows, there's always light behind the dark. Let it rain on me. Let it rain on me. Let it rain on me. Oh yeah. Let it rain on me.
Very nice. That's
Hey.
yeah, really nice. Luke Elliott playing live here on Q1043's Out of the Box from the new album, Dressed for the Occasion. Luke, have you ever gone back to your high school reunions? You ever do that?
No.
No?
Well, I didn't.
Well, I know you ran into your fourth grade teacher in a bar, which was weird in itself, but
Yeah.
I would think it would be cool to go back. Everyone has their own sort of philosophy on the high school reunion thing, but
No, I try and stay as far away from that sort of thing as possible. I mean, I mean, me in high school, we didn't really get along all that well. So
Right.
I'll leave it at that.
Those were your formative years.
Those were my formative years.
Yeah.
So, but when I showed up, I was not too much a fan of it anyway. So
Yeah, yeah.
I try not to go back. But
I hear. I always had this fantasy of like driving up in a red Ferrari, like 20 years after I graduate high school.
Yeah.
I haven't done that yet, but
it might be kind of fun.
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'll think about it.
Well, everyone go out and get Luke's new album, actually available this Friday. It's called Dressed for the Occasion, and you can see him at the Bryant Park Music Festival this Friday night and the record release party, Mercury Lounge, October 24th. I want to play Get 'Em While They're Hot off the
Okay.
new album. What can you tell us about this song?
Well, it's been a fantastic song for us so far. We got a new video coming out for it in a little while. I went into the studio with these European musicians, and all of a sudden, this amazing beginning of the violin like symphony started. And you know, I had an idea for the song, but I mean, it just exploded in the studio. So immediately, you know, John and I were listening to it back, and we were like, this is going to be a great way to start the record.
Yeah.
So we're really proud of it.
All right, we're going to play it right now. Luke, thank you so much.
Thanks so much, brother.
New York's classic rock, Q1043.